Yeah, Jim.
I'm going to pivot off of what you were talking about earlier with Prime Minister Mallett.
Put up your dukes. That's an old boxing expression. And so, I don't know. Let me finish, please. And so we believe is a step toward having a nuclear weapons program. That in itself coupled...
Governor Bush, you may answer that if you'd like, but also I'd like to know how you see the differences between the two of you, and we need to move on.
Well, the difference is that I can get it done. That I can get something positive done on behalf of the people. But can you get things done? And I believe...
Now, look, if you want someone who will spend a lot of words describing a whole convoluted process and then end up supporting legislation that is supported by the big drug companies, this is your man. If you want someone who will fight for you...
6 months after he said Osama bin Laden must be caught dead or alive, this president was asked, where's Osama bin Laden? He said, I don't know. I don't really think about him very much. I'm not that concerned. We need a president who stays deadly focused on the real war on terror.
Mr. President.
Gosh, I don't think I ever said I'm not worried about Osama bin Laden. It's kind of one of those exaggerations. So I don't know where he is. Nor do I just don't spend that much time on him. I repeat what I said. I truly am not that concerned about him. A group of folks who are not politically affiliated, they analyzed the senator's plan. It cost $1.2 trillion. The Lewin report accurately noted that there are going to be 20 million people, over 20 million people added to government-controlled health care. It'll be the largest increase in government health care ever. And just look at other countries that have tried to have federally controlled health care. They have poor quality health care.
The CBO said very clearly that if you were to adopt the president's plan, there'll be a $2 trillion hole in Social Security. They said that there would have to be a cut in benefits of 25 to 40%. Where does the transitional money, that $2 trillion, come from? He's already got $3 trillion, according to the Washington Post, of expenses that he's put on the line from his convention and the promises of this campaign.
The president has made it clear that he's going to have exchanges of views, but I'm not taking you in the room with him.
But nice musical input from Martha, but seriously.
Dana Perino calling.
Senator Senator Kerry. Come on now. I got to get through this speech.
John King
right there, Wolf, broken government. Now, what kind of stance is that? Here we are. We're a country where we have been mightily challenged over the past 6 years. We've been through 9/11. We've been through Katrina. The president and the vice president inherited a recession. We're a country where the economy's healthy. That's not broken. This government has acted very well. We've had tax cuts that are responsible for our healthy economy.
You know the American people are suffering, watching.
Oh, I know that very much. And believe me, no one suffers more than their president. And I do when we watch this, and certainly the commander-in-chief.
It appears that there were not weapons of mass destruction there.
You said you knew where they were.
I did not. I said I knew where suspect sites were, and
You said you knew where they were, near Tikrit, near Baghdad, and northeast, south, and west of there. Those are your words.
My words were that... No. Wait a minute. Let him stay 1 second. Just a second.
The situation obviously would have been over a long time ago. The bottom line is
It's easy to stick your finger in the air and figure out which way the winds are blowing and then try to get in front of the herd. Just think for a minute. Think for a minute, Wolf, in terms of what policy...
Some of your good Republican friends in the Senate and the House are now seriously questioning your credibility because of the blunders, of the failures. Gordon Smith.
Wolf, I simply don't accept the premise of your question. I just think it's hogwash.
Want to respond to that?
No, I don't. I think, frankly, you're out of line with that question.
That was just a question that's come up, and it's a responsible, fair question.
I just fundamentally disagree with your question.
I want to congratulate you.
Well, Congresswoman, on Iran, the president's made very clear that he, by financial measures that the United States, Germany, France, and Great Britain, Russia, and China, an extensive package. I think the Iranians are taking us seriously. That can look at this, to have efforts to...
But, Madam Secretary, you come out of academia.
People need to come to terms with it, and they need to move on. We've done that in our own country. People have done it in Europe.
And I will tell you what I've learned from looking at the documents. And I believe that in looking at the documents, Senator, I recall that sitting in a meeting, concerned about Miss Lamb, and saying that those numbers needed to change.
Now, let me just say, Mr. Attorney General, this is a serious hearing. You've had months to prepare.
We have to protect ourselves. We have to build a wall because your government wouldn't stop it. That's why we have to do it. I don't see that as racist.
This bill is an amnesty. For those who call it amnesty, they're just trying to, in my judgment, frighten people.
Heritage Foundation putting the cost of this legislation as it's now written at $2.5 trillion over 3 decades.
Why are you discovering this now? It's 5 days that FEMA's been on the ground. The head of police says it's been 5 days that FEMA's been there. The mayor, the former mayor, putting out SOSs on Tuesday morning, crying on national television saying, please send in some troops. So the idea that, yes, I understand that you're feeding people and trying to get in there now, but it's Friday.
Unfortunately, Democratic leaders in Congress want to spend far more. Their budget calls for nearly $22 billion more in discretionary spending next year alone. These leaders have tried to downplay that figure. Yesterday, one called this increase, and I quote, a very small difference from what I've proposed. Only in Washington can $22 billion be called a very small difference. There's only one way to pay for all this new federal spending without running up the deficit, and that is to raise your taxes.
Wolf, the president just vetoed a $35 billion increase for children's health. He now wants a $46 billion increase for both wars. Democrats charging he has misplaced priorities.
No Child Left Behind guarantees schools federal funding as long as they grant recruiters access to students on campus.
No Child Left Behind also mandates recruiters be provided with students' home phone numbers and addresses.
Well, the fact is that I didn't realize the towers would collapse. I never realized that. If I can complete the sentence, if you give me the courtesy to complete the sentence, no one that I knew of had any idea that they would implode. That was a complete surprise.
And we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse.
Showed his character in public office. As a young congressman here, anytime you hear the United States government talking about wiretap, a wiretap requires a court order. Nothing has changed. By the way, when we're talking about chasing down terrorists, we're talking about getting a court order before we do so.